We have never in LA County since the very beginning of this pandemic had such an increase, surge in our case numbers. And it's not just that, over the last week and a half, we've increased the case numbers by over 100%. It's also the fact that the sheer numbers are mind-boggling.
Hey everybody, welcome to Info on the Go, where we make understanding real estate clear, calm, and concise. I'm your host, Dietrich Williams. Today, we're going to get into a market update for Los Angeles County. This is the December 2020 market update. So let's get right into it. So COVID-19 cases are surging. In fact, we have new lockdown orders in place for non-essential businesses to shut down operations from 10 p.m. all the way to 5 a.m. Now, what's causing these surges is that people aren't adhering to the rules. That's neither here nor there. I'm not going to really get into that. But because they're spiking, we're going to see layoffs. And we've already seen that start to happen. So in September, our unemployment levels drop. The rates drop. But then the last couple of weeks, they've taken a spike again. And that's partly because we've had to do these lockdown orders for non-essential businesses. Also to boot is that the Los Angeles County health officials have banned public and private gatherings of people that are not inside your immediate household. Now, there's an exception to this. That's faith-based services and protests, both of which are protected under your constitutional rights. Dinner gatherings, whether indoors or outdoors, that has been completely banned. Now, I don't say all of that to just be the bearer of bad news, because there are some bright spots. The housing market is still a bright spot in Los Angeles County, and that's partly spurred by low inventory and low interest rates. So again, it's that supply demand thing. There's not a whole lot of supply, but there's an increased number of demand. So let's get into some of the numbers in terms of what this has looked like over the past month. So new listings in November were 3,819. In October, they were 6,235. Now that's a decrease of about 39%, which means we're not seeing new homes come into the market. That's kind of expected because it was a little bit of wonky time in November. We had an election going on, so a lot of people decided to just kind of stand pat and wait to see what things were going to happen. Now, what happens in December, we should see things shake out, but if not, that's something that we definitely want to keep an eye on. Now, active listings in the month of November were 9,371 compared to 9,462 in October, which means we were relatively flat. Pending sales, which will indicate what's going to happen in the future, were down almost 48%. So in the month of November, we had 2,185 pending sales. However, in October, there were 4,184 pending sales. Again, this points to not having enough inventory. Closed sales for the month of November, 3,907. But in October, they were 4,727. So that's a decrease of about 17%. So again, you can see we don't have a lot of inventory, and thus our closed sales are taking a hit as well. Days on market, which really indicate how fast the market is moving, remain relatively flat between November and October. Usually it took about 10 days for houses to come on the market and then to go into contract. So that just tells you how hot of a market is right now. And then one of the crucial numbers that we look at is month supply. Now, month supply tells us how many months it will take to sell off the existing inventory. Both in November and October, we were at about 2.6. So it's still relatively flat, indicating that this is a seller's market. Anytime you have month supply that's 5 months or under, you're looking at a seller's market. Anytime it's 6 months or higher, then you're looking at a buyer's market. Anything around 6 months is what we call equilibrium. That's when the market is just kind of stable. It's not a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market. It's just kind of moving at a pace. And then finally, let's look at median sales prices. Now, in the month of October, the median sales price across LA County was about $825,000. However, in November, that number dropped to about $800,000. Not a huge shift downward, about 3%, but still something we want to take notice of, because remember what I talked about, those pending sales leading into the month of December. We're going to see how that shakes out. There could be some opportunity for buyers to kind of negotiate down. It's going to be really difficult to say right now. I've seen it happen in across some of the deals that I've been going with, but we'll see what happens in the future. Now, again, all of this is influenced by low interest rates and low supply. Again, the drop off in November, probably due to the election and some uncertainty in the markets. I've told my clients before that usually in an election year, the markets kind of slow down for about a week or two as we kind of see what's going to happen, whether there's going to be a regime change, if the new regime is coming in, what policies are going to take effect, and how is that going to affect people from a financial and economic standpoint. So now that everything is somewhat over, we'll see how things shift out in December. I still expect it to be a little bit of a slowdown as we gear into the holidays and even into the new year. Typically in real estate, the fourth quarter is where things slow down. But remember, we're in the midst of a pandemic. So all of the pent up demand that would have happened in the spring and summer months has been kind of getting pushed back. So we'll see whether that has an effect over our Q4 heading in. Now, in terms of what it's going to look like in the future, now, the Mortgage Bankers Association has predicted that interest rates are probably going to stay around 3%. They'll take a little bit of a nosedive, but they're expected to increase in Q4 of 2021 and then hold steady somewhere around 3.4 or 3.5%. So this may be a good time for you who are thinking about buying a home to get into the game, lock those rates in, and see if you can get a house. Now, one thing I want to look at is, let's look at the last 10 years of historic data where we compare interest rates and housing prices. We can see that home sales prices have significantly increased over the last 10 years. However, it's been offset by some of these lower interest rates. So we can see how that is affecting affordability. But now is a better time to buy than it was in the previous last 2 years. So again, take advantage of the low interest rates if you can, because even though prices are going up, interest rates are at historic lows. Now, currently, right now, the average for this month is about 3.14%. But as you've probably heard in the news, rates have been hovering around 2.77% for the last couple of weeks. So now, again, this could be an opportunity for you to get into the market. So don't just look at the price of the home. You have to weigh what it cost you in terms of your monthly mortgage payment. Don't let the high prices stop you. There's always a way to work around that, especially if you're a first-time buyer. There are many programs out there that will help you not only with down payment assistance, but also help you with closing costs. So you want to keep these things in mind. Now, with COVID cases just running rampant, our hospitals are running out of room, especially in the ICU. So we have to get this thing under control. I'm going to just make a shameless plug and say, please, I know it sucks wearing a mask. I don't like wearing a mask either, but would you rather not wear a mask, not have the government kind of lock everything down to get this under control so that we can get the economy back? Or would you rather see us go through another wave? Because right now we're in the second wave. We could hit a third wave if we're not following the protocols to get this thing under control. So again, I just want to implore you. Yes, we want to keep the economy moving, but the economy cannot move if we have more people who are sick and or dying and cannot work. So again, I just want to implore you, please follow the safety protocol guidelines and let's do our best to get this thing under control. All right. So if you found this information useful, please subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell so you're notified when I deliver future editions of Info on the Go to YouTube. I want to thank you again for watching. Please keep all this information in mind as we begin to move out of 2020 into 2021 and seeing what's going to happen in the economy and in the housing market. So I want to thank you again. And as always, I will see you next time.